Are we in for another tune? Oh, wonderful. Thank you, sweetheart, for that lovely little melody. We are being spoilt today, my friends. Well, my friends, it has been a while, but we're off on a small road trip again. We haven't been doing the long ones that we previously did because of the kittens that we have. They require a lot of attention, as any kitten owners out there know, and usually our mother-in-law looks after them. We don't want to put them into a boarding home for cats, so the mother-in-law looks after them. She's getting on in years, so we don't want to expect too much from her. But we went to Lake Constance, called the Bodensee in German. It's a nice hotel we stayed at, but we were in for a surprise with the interior layout, as you will soon see. Let's have a look at this. Nice and spacious though, no complaints there, and the meal downstairs was fantastic, couldn't complain at all. Lots of space, bed was really comfortable, but look at this. Look at this. They have positioned a toilet right in front of this window. I should say the toilet's all right there. It's not sort of doing anything suspicious. That's where it should be, in the bathroom. But who was the architect that thought this was a good idea to put a clear window? There's no blinds, there's no curtains or anything. It's there. You can't put anything in front of it to block it. You're just stuck with this. It's really quite strange, I find, for them to do that. And of course you've got the window there. Can you see there on the left, that so you can look at the person in the shower? So just say that you weren't a married couple, or that you had children or something, or you had a guest in, you were on a conference for a hotel and you had a guest in for a drink. They're sitting on the sofa watching you have a poo. Who was the architect? Fritzl? It's really bizarre. I even showed the lady at reception, and she shook her head laughing too. I mean, that's just weird. Have you ever seen anything like that? Yeah. Really weird. That sort of baffled me. But apart from that, it was a lovely hotel. There you can see, if you have a shower or a bath, there's also a panoramic view. This is just down the road from the hotel, just a little short walk. This is actually Lake Constance. It wasn't the best weather. I'm just thankful it didn't rain. That's what we were hoping, it wouldn't rain. We knew the forecast was not going to be the best, but yeah, can't complain. It was nice. We do get to see an antique shop. It was a really nice one. So the antique lovers out there, and I know there's quite a few of you, I hope you won't be disappointed. Then the junk stores are not like they used to be. We went to loads and they just weren't even worth filming. I can tell you, I can't talk. They weren't worth filming. Just junk. Just real junk. Not vintage junk, just junk. Anyway, let's speed this up. Get down the bottom. You can go down there swimming. It's not that deep at this part, although it gets deep out in the middle. There's the Swiss flag. And there's a seagull balancing on a ball there, or what do they call it? A buoy. A buoy. My cat is just crying outside there. I'm going to let her in. I will be back. So this is getting the car ferry over from the Swiss side to the German side, which is Friedrichshafen. It's about a 40-minute trip, I would say, 30 to 40 minutes. There was a bit of rain, which was not too bad. Can't complain. Could have been worse. They were heading out through the harbour here. But after that, the rain sort of stopped, and we didn't have any more problems. I mean, today the weather, is fantastic. It's just that particular point. But that is how it is in Europe. That's how it is. So let's head out through there. And here we are coming in to Friedrichshafen. And I couldn't believe how many people. I mean, years ago we'd go to a lot of these places. There wasn't that many people. This is not like the main summer holidays. This is September, during a weekday, the start of the week. And some of these towns we went to were absolutely bumper full of people. Where are they all coming from? I mean, there's sort of like massive immigration to Europe from everywhere. Look at this beautiful little bakery here with a pretzel, a golden pretzel. Some wonderful old towns. But of course, whenever there's something wonderful, that the tourists obviously want to see it. I don't blame them. We did too. What is nice here, that cars are not really allowed to come through. The people who own the shops may be bringing in deliveries. They're allowed, but at least you don't have the hassle and stress of cars driving around you as you're walking. Fantastic. And this is down by the harbour. You come right down the steps. Really steep steps. Get right to the bottom. It wasn't too bad here. The people were spaced out. Not spaced out as in high. I mean, you know what I mean. But yeah, wasn't too crowded in. Oh, look at this woman. That must be tiring, doing that all day, standing on stilts. My goodness. Look at the beautiful paintings on the facades of the building. Wonderful. People out and about eating. Perfect weather. It's not cold at all. Even though it was sort of overcast, not cold. So my dear friends, this is the town, town, not really sure, Meersburg. I'll put that up on the screen. This castle is dead center in the town. It's beautiful. It's a medieval castle. You will get to see that. And you've got this beautiful sort of outcrop. I'm not really sure. Promenade's not the right word, but yeah, overlooking the lake. It's fantastic with this palace there. This was a well. Oddie was terrified of looking down. She's absolutely has a phobia about heights, so she couldn't look down there. And I was trying not to drop my phone down. A long way down. Can't imagine what this place would be like in winter back then in the day. It must have been freezing cold, but I'm sure the inhabitants were grateful for living there. I sensed a spirit just there where that oven is when I came in. They would have been grateful, despite the cold, to be in that fortified castle. She looks a bit constipated, doesn't she? My goodness. Yeah, because obviously you had a lot more protection being in that castle. I mean, what a fantastic view overlooking the lake. Isn't that wonderful? We didn't see that many fireplaces in this castle, so maybe they didn't sort of use these rooms in winter. I don't know. Or did they have some other form of heating? They couldn't have had any sort of central heating ducts in the Middle Ages. So I'm guessing that they didn't use it, or they were just hard people, because it would get cold. This was like a ceremonial room for the king or the baron or whatever he was. I got a fly buzzing around here. If you can hear it, my apologies. This overlooked the interior courtyard. Really nice. Suits of armor, as you would expect in a castle. I mean, they must have been uncomfortable too. Look, this must have been quite a big bloke, isn't it? His suit of armor is larger than the rest. This is sort of inside the castle still, but you've got this area. It's wonderful, really. Absolutely wonderful. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? I would like to be there. This is overlooking outside of that parapet there. You could sort of get a sense how the town was hundreds of years ago, really. And a beautiful town it is. This is the furnace for, they are like the blacksmith. I have to think of words in English nowadays. The blacksmith, so they could make tools and weapons. This was right underneath, down below in the cellar part, dungeon part of the castle. Here we go. We are now in one of the salons. Creaky floorboards, very creaky very creaky floorboards. Look at that oven, isn't that fantastic? That is solid. Built to last forever. Yeah, there's a recording going on. It's not spirit talking. This is some sort of oil lamp. Wonderful antique shop, by the way, in this town. Wonderful. You're going to see that very soon. Stocks, pillory. Now, we're not really sure what this is. It's either for dumping rubbish down or poo or both. I mean, you've got to dump it somewhere, don't you? Let's hope there wasn't any prisoners down there receiving that deposit. This was on the way out. This is actually part of the entrance, but this is the exit for the tourists heading out there through those gates near the left. Would have been lovely back in the day when you were sort of by yourself, contemplating life, wandering through there. This is a chapel. Now look at these seats. My goodness, I wouldn't last a few minutes on those very, very hard-looking seats with my old bottom. No, 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 no. So in this same city of Meersburg is this palace. Here we didn't actually go in because simply we're just tired walking all day. There's only so many buildings that you can check out. As beautiful as it is, next time we shall visit this place. There's just so many things to do, and as you get older your energy is sort of not as it was, but a beautiful view out there. Isn't that lovely? Even on a cloudy day, can you imagine it in summer with a clear blue sky? Wonderful. So this is the ferry going or coming in. It's one of the ones that we will be using to go back over on a different point in Switzerland. Isn't it wonderful? I love these sort of harbour-side towns. Up next is a fantastic antique shop in this town or city of Meersburg. Wonderful, really wonderful. I'm giving a shout out to Jürgen Skau. He is the owner of the shop. Jürgen, danke vielmal. Das war ein wirklich ein lieber, netter Empfang. Sie waren sehr locker und wir kommen auf jeden Fall ein anderes Mal. Just telling him that he's a really great guy. He really warmly welcomed us and was happy for us to film. Any of you guys from around the world who are watching my videos, if you ever go to Germany, go to the town of Meersburg and check out Jürgen's shop. It's really, really fantastic. Have a look at some of the things he's got. A lot of military stuff and a lot of antique and vintage toys. No reproductions here, all original. Fantastic. Is that Tintin? Is that Tintin? I think it is. Well worth a visit. I think it's one of the best antique shops I've ever been in. Danke vielmal, Jörg, nochmals. Well, my friends, let's go and check out the antique shop now. This is the place. This is the antique shop I was telling you about just before. Fantastic. Wonderful. Really, it's got some amazing vintage toys and other items. Really good stuff. This is high-end stuff. The stuff that I like. So I'm spoilt when I come to a place like this. I really am. And there's just so much to take in. He has actually 2 other shops connected to this. When we first went in, there was nobody there, and he was so keen for us to film. And then suddenly, of course, as it always is with us, suddenly all these people started piling in. And of course, I understand he had to, stay in one place. He was going to show us all the other shops as well. Oh well, next time, definitely. Wait till you get inside. Fabulous. Look at these helmets here. It will focus in a minute. These are all these type of German Kaiser helmets. Aren't they wonderful? With those little pointy knobs on top. You would love this town. Please go and visit. Go and visit him. And he's such a nice guy. He will show you around and explain all of the articles. They've all got a story behind them. Flying outfits from World War II. Lots of models of ships, aeroplanes, zeppelins. Oh, we're in for a treat.
Du und ich im Mondenschein auf einer kleinen Bank allein. Junge, Junge, das wär herrlich, aber nicht ganz ungefährlich. Du und ich im Mondenschein, das könnte so romantisch sein.
Well, that's very nice of you, but I'm already spoken for. But thank you for the compliment. That was very nice of him, wasn't it? To sing us a little melody. Fantastic. There's so much to take in, you just can't take it all in. There is just so much stuff. A lifetime of collecting. This guy has the same heart and soul as me. Just that love of collecting. Eventually he'll die. Oh, are we in for another tune? Oh, wonderful. Thank you, sweetheart, for that lovely little melody. We are being spoilt today, my friends. Yeah, when he dies, he has enjoyed it. That is the main thing. You know, there's no way he can sell all this. He's an elderly guy, but he's enjoyed it, and that's all that counts. That's how I feel. Fantastic old advertising. Look at that. Hotel du Rhin. It's on the Rhine. All original advertising. No repro stuff here. I can hear Oddie in the background talking to the cats. Well, look at this guy. He's got one of those helmets on. That's obviously the First World War, or prior. This thing here is apparently from housing for a ship's compass. An amazing, solid-looking thing. Wow. This is probably one of the best places I've been to. It's the sort of stuff that I like. What do you think, my dears? And what is this thing here? Somebody's made this from hand. What could this item have been? It's obviously, is it from an aeroplane? From the fuselage or something? It might be. And they've painted, one of the soldiers has painted this on in the American style that they did on the World War II bombers? Or is it an American relic? I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on that. Now look at this, somebody has modelled a Graf Zeppelin. Looks to be from wood, balsa wood perhaps. Is that fabulous? I'd love to have seen the rest of his shops. Definitely go out. If you heading out to Meersburg, my friends, if you're going on holiday, go and check him out. You won't regret it. Found these in a different shop, 1950s, early 60s, wall lamps. Fantastic, 280, quite a lot. I picked, years ago, I used to pick these up in abandoned houses that were going to be demolished. The builders would say, take them for nothing. And I would sell them online. Now they're fetching, and I was getting a good penny back then, but now they're fetching quite considerable prices when you think they were not very expensive when they were made. This is actually the only thing that I purchased on the trip. It really spoke to me. It's a man and a woman, looks to be about 1900, 1905. They're in a tavern, and he's saying to her, who will come after us? Always others, Kathy, always others. It's quite haunting because when you think about it, the spaces that we occupy today were once occupied by people who are no longer here. And there will be after us people who occupy the spaces that we are in now. I love this postcard, which is the reason I got it. Prost. Oh, an eternal embrace. Spotted this mirror here, Art Nouveau. The design is very nice. It's only sort of plaster or a composition, but still quite nice and has survived in good condition. This one here is solid wood with a beveled mirror. Very nice. Nice clock there with a cracked enamel face, brass. Wind-up toys, probably Japanese. They're fetching, the original ones are fetching a good price these days. This one's quite amazing, just for a photo portrait. It's also solid wood with a very intricate carving. Well, quite intricate. It's a bit sort of provincial in its style, but nice. This is lovely. This is a children's coffee service. Isn't that wonderful? Out of tin with a transfer design on it. That's nice there, isn't it? I love the style of the coffee can. This one here is not an old mirror, but it's done in the Venetian style. It's also quite nice. This here is a carousel horse. This would have been on a fairground ride. Price tag I thought was quite cheap. What do you think? 190 Swiss francs. It's not that much. It's all carved wood and painted, and strangely enough, it has a sort of monkey on the salad. A monkey on the saddle. Yeah, on the salad too. Quite unique, isn't it? Got real horsehair tail. Someone's done a dodgy patch-up job of gluing it back in there. That does not look good. And here we see this would have been where the poles went in to support it to the ride. This was a one that a friend asked me to restore for him. You can see there all the wood had cracked open. I've never done one before. I thought I'd have a go. And I just used our Oddite glue, 2-component glue, that really sets very hard. And then there's the back of it. Was a whole chunk missing, which I just had to fashion some wood in a similar shape, fit it in, glue that in before I could fill it. You can see the tail was missing. This is a child's wagon that you pull along. It's over 100 years old for sure. And it was no longer, it had all warped, the wood over the years. You can see there I filled it up, filled all the various parts. All along there. This is the other side, right along there. And he wanted it to look as, he wanted the patina to stay. I can't talk today. He didn't want it to look new, so I had to really, and an American friend of mine who has horses in the stable, she managed to get me some real horsehair for the tail. Yeah, pretty much back to normal. It's not perfect, but he was more than happy with the result. Quite a solid cabinet here, isn't it? Very nice. That's really quite elegant. Well made. Has definitely survived the test of time. I would have that. If I had a large enough place, that would definitely find a home with me. Now this chair, this was designed if you didn't want people to stay too long if they come for dinner, because I can assure you, sitting on this chair is very uncomfortable. I tried it out. All these gnarly wood carving bits stick into your back. No, not a comfortable chair. The clocks are quite nice, aren't they? Always very soothing. That's called a Comptos clock, that brass one with the enamel. Spotted this in a junk store. Now, I've had a few of these before. This was a Swiss guy called Ivan Hugentobler, and he would paint horses and draw horses, often like this one here. It would be a commission for somebody's racehorse. This one was called Talent, and he made a living from this, and over the years his works fetched considerable prices. Not huge, but for something like this, you could have expected a few years ago about $700, say. We'll say it in American dollars. I managed to find one in a junk store some years back for $25, and another one I found for even less and sold them at considerable profit. But this shop knew what it had, and they had a price tag of $525 on it. So yeah, it's too much for me, but really nice. Can you hear the cat outside? That's the grey one. That's Gracie. Saw this too. It's a aluminium sign for a taxi service in Germany. Quite interesting. I thought about buying it, but nah, it's not that special. Okay, who's this odd fellow? Well, we're coming towards the end, my dears. I do hope you've enjoyed the junk store and the trips around. Let me know what you thought about it and what you thought about the antiques. We spotted this in the city of St. Gallen in Switzerland. What are your thoughts on the reuse of religious buildings? This was a church, and now they have painted a mural on it. It's done quite well. Also, you know, in the West, Christianity is sort of dying out. It's not sort of, it is dying out. What are your thoughts on these buildings being reused or altered? We once went to a cathedral in Ireland that had been turned into a huge pub, and we went in for a few beers, and I must say I was very impressed with it. It had such a wonderful ambience. It was so huge. At the same time, the lapsed Catholic in me felt guilty about it being used in that way, but that was just the religious programming that I had been put through. But I'm very interested to hear your views on this, whether you're against it or for it. Just let me know your thoughts. This is male urinals in a garden centre in Switzerland. I've never seen anything quite like it. Aren't they fabulous? Check them out. Wow. Oh, they're almost too good to pee in, aren't they? This was yesterday. There was a huge accident on the motorway that we were using, which is typical, and so everybody was using an alternative route coming back, and this poor old guy in his Citroën DS broke down. Obviously, the old motor just couldn't handle being stuck in traffic so long. The engine had spat the dummy and had spilt oil all over the road. So not only is the poor owner up for a hefty repair bill for the engine, but the fire brigade was called out, as you can see them there, because it had spilt the oil all over the road. They were having to mop it up, so he's going to get the bill for their attendance as well. Oh my dear. Well, it's time for the show and tell before I go. Seeing as we were in Germany, this is my German relic. It is from the First World War. It's a Dresser semi-automatic, 32 caliber, and I bought this off a guy who's deceased. Bought it many years ago. It is in excellent condition. I have fired it a few times, although the experts don't recommend it because of its age, you know, metal fatigue. Not only that, the design of it, it's a crackback, so you could open it up to clean it better, but I have heard that sometimes if you fire them, it can actually crack open during that process and blow your hand off. But it didn't happen to me. I only fired it a few times just to see that it did work before I purchased it. And I did find online one the same. I think it was advertised in America. Here it is, sold rare, M1907 Dresser pistol, Polizei, Präsidium Berlin, Kriminalpolizei Berlin, marked Babylon Berlin Special. They want 1,250 for that. And mine is in considerably better condition. I'm not sure whether you would get that price here in Europe, but probably they're quite rare in America. Anyway, my friends, on that note, I will love you and leave you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thumb up if you can. Subscribe if you've been unsubscribed by YouTube. Yeah, they're just knocking them off by the dozens every day. They're deleting my subscribers. People are telling me all the time. No, yeah, what are we going to do? We don't really care. That's just the way it is. I will struggle on till I can no more. Take care, my friends. Until next time, God bless and bye-bye.